Lesson 31 is all about areas of rectangles. And the question we have first is, what is the area of the rectangle? Now when we look at this rectangle below, we can see that our length is 8 centimeters and our width is 4 centimeters. And to figure out the area, well, what we want to do is figure out how many square units we could fit in here. So what we would need to do to figure out how many square units we could have would be to draw out a picture. This is one method. So when we draw out a picture, we're going to draw lines so that we have 4 different squares up and down. And the reason that we're going to have 4 different squares up and down, you can see each one of those squares here, 1, 2, 3, and 4, is because our height is 4 centimeters. Now, so we can fit at least 4 square units within inside this rectangle. Now we're going to have to do this 8 times. We've got one row, or one column already. We'd have to have 8 columns because we're going 8 centimeters across. So we could continue. We can see we're going to have a 5th square, a 6th square, a 7th square, and an 8th square. And we could keep doing this all the way across until we filled this all the way in. Now another way to find the area of a rectangle. The area of a rectangle is always equal to the length times the width. Let's write that out. Area of rectangle will always be equal to the length times the width. And remember, the little dot means multiply. So if we want to multiply the length times the width, well, our length is our horizontal distance, that's 8 centimeters. Our width is our vertical distance, that's 4 centimeters. So we're going to get 8 times 4, which is equal to 32. And remember, for area, we're talking about square units here. So we're going to get 32 square. And in this problem, we have centimeters as our label, or a unit. So we're going to get 32 square centimeters. And we can use an abbreviation for centimeters of cm. We've got our final answer. If we were to fill in this box with perfect squares all the way across, we'd have 32 of them. But doing the multiplication is a lot faster, and it gets us to the same answer. Let's move on to our next example. Now this one says, the area of a square is 100 square inches. How long is each side of the square? Well, it's a square, and a square always has sides that are equal length. So this area of the square is 100 square inches. The area of a square is also length times width, just like a rectangle. So A, area, is equal to the length times the width. Now if we know the length times the width is equal to 100 square inches, we've got to figure out what the length and the width would be to get us to 100. If length and width are exactly the same, can you tell me what number do you multiply by itself to get 100? Well, hopefully you said 10, because 10 times 10, the length times the width, is equal to 100. 10 times 10 gives us 100. That's true. So how long is each side of the square? Each side of the square must be 10 inches, because that's the unit that we're talking about in this problem. So we'd have 10 inches all the way around. We only need to write it in these 2 spots because we know we have a square. And we've got our answer right here. Our lesson practice will be on page 165. We'll be working more with area. Make sure you've got your notes completed, and I'll see you during our next class.